Hi everyone, happy Sunday. Right, I don't normally do this on a Sunday, but I've realised that I haven't been doing the weeklies for a while. I was just testing them out, but I think it kind of feels right to start doing the weeklies again. So I'm gonna mix this and just some insights and some general stuff that I've been getting, some realizations that I've been getting. So the ones that only want the reading, I will put a timestamp on when the readings start. However, I do feel that there can be some valuable information given when we have these chats. Good morning, May Queen. Good morning. So I'm just going to wait for people to come on. I know it's early. I'm at home and everybody else is still asleep. I really wanted to do this outside today because it's beautiful, but I was frightened I would wake people up. And I don't know how the internet is outside as well, so I'm just having to do it in the house. So this is even with you all. So, hey, Magic. Happy Sunday. Hey, Christy, you finally got to catch me live. Yeah, I keep everybody on their toes, don't I? I'm a night owl, finally got you live after 3 years. Well, dear, I hope it's worth the wait. I hope it's worth the wait, May Queen. Morning, Tanya, what a fab surprise. Hi, Mandy. And Shania, happy Sunday. Tango. One of my friends used to call me Tango. So yeah, I'm sitting here because I was sick of the view from the other one with the fan and everything. Could I just ask, is the sound all right? Because I do have the fan on because it is really hot, but I can turn it off if it's actually affecting the sound. So if you could just let me know, please. Yeah, you can hear me okay, or is the fan a problem? Sound is fine. Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Like I say, you've got me without my makeup today as well, but it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday. This is Sundays are a day of rest, aren't they? Right, so it's all good there. Right, okay. So how's everybody been? Just before I start with what I want to go, but I was lying in bed and it was like, I started to write a post for my Instagram page. If any of you haven't liked my Instagram page, please go over there because I do share a lot more on there as well. I want Painful Angel. And I decided to start writing, and then it was like, no, this is a video, because like I say, when I get big realizations, I really like to share them as well with you, you know, because this is it. It's all part of our growth, and if we can help each other along, then you know that is what we're here to do. You know, we're all just guiding each other home, aren't we? So finally got calming down. It's been tough. Hey, Karen from Holland. Yeah, it has been tough, and what I've noticed, I don't know if anybody else has, is throughout this these lunar eclipse and this Mercury retrograde, which we're still in, it's been very teaching. Like, yes, it's been chaotic and there's been some dark. I think it was Wednesday, I just went poof. I went down. I went into, had friends around who they weren't there to fix me, but they allowed me to get out everything that I needed to get out. And this is what happens. I don't know if everybody is the same, but I need to talk it. When I talk it, when I say it, this is when it starts to make sense. When I keep it inside, this is when it starts to fester, which is quite interesting considering what I'm wanting to talk about today. So yeah, so I think we've all been affected, but even during the dark storm, there's been quite a calmness. I don't know if anybody has noticed that as well. You on Wednesday, you had no energy. Yeah, I mean, we're getting joint pains, and there's so much going on planetary, which is affecting us as well. So we really need to be gentle on ourselves. You know, we really do. And this is interesting as to what I have to speak about today. So I've got look at my new crystal. I love it. It's a smoky quartz, but it's really, really smoky. But yeah, so this has been like it's been there all of the time. I've been clinging on to it for dear life. So, right, I've got my t-shirt on as well. Fearless. This is it. And I feel this is what we need to be, you know, because obviously I'm not going to talk too much about the lunar eclipse. I did do a video on that last week, but it was about our fears. It was about our darkness. It was about, you know, our shadows coming up and saying to us, what is it we're really scared of? And a lot of times it's very different to what we actually think, you know. So yeah, I've been hit sleeping. Feels like I've been hit by a train. Lots of internal work, yeah. And sleeping is good because what is happening there, one painful angel. This is why I love these, because you can give advice that people might not ask or might not realize that they need help with. So when we are sleeping, okay, I've been sleeping a lot and I have a problem sleeping, you know, so that's been really good. But when we're sleeping, when we're going through these planetary shifts, what is happening is we are resetting. Our DNA is resetting, you know, we are finally going back to who we were originally meant to be. So sleeping is all part of that, you know, this is our healing. And when we are asleep, this is when our body can repair. This is when our soul can rest, you know, and get everything into space so that we become stronger. So if you feel the need to sleep, sleep. If you know, don't feel guilty for sleeping in. Don't feel guilty at all. If you're, you know, guilt is the furthest away from God. Listen to it. And this is it. We really need to listen to ourselves and our body. This is one of the most important things, and this is exactly what I'm going to hit on for today as well, you know, so it's all tied in. So thank you for saying that, one painful angel. Good morning, Janet. You went and swam in the sea on Tuesday. Oh, wow. I went to swim in the sea on the eclipse night, but the sea was angry. It was really, really angry. And it was like, whoa, I'm not going in there. And it was like, I had visions of me walking in and then never walking back out again. It's 4:40 in the morning. I could sleep, speaking of sleep. Right, okay, so I've got a couple of notes of what I started to read, but you know me, you know, I prefer to free fall. I always prefer that. When I had to do a circle the other night, and I just can't work with notes. It's not me. It's 6:42 p.m. I'll just have a little look and see what my tea says. Think seriously and think honestly. So that would be a great mantra for this week, wouldn't it? Think seriously and think honestly. I should do this every Sunday morning. I should do these and have that as a little mantra. Oh, ginger and honey, that's lovely. Right, okay, so where am I going with this? I have got cards to do for the weekly energies, but this is just the insight that I came up with today. I was watching a video, and nothing is by chance as well. I completely believe that nothing is by chance at all. Everything is synchronized, and when we realize that there is a divine plan, it can also let us off the hook as well. So we don't have to worry, we don't have to control things. So where do I start? Right, okay, so this lunar eclipse is highlighting fears, and it's still energetically around us, okay? And this week was quite a strange week for me. The other day I was sitting talking to somebody. Now this person isn't a friend, they're an acquaintance. And the reason they're an acquaintance is because I've kind of, right, okay, they need to be an acquaintance. You know, I'm usually a good judge of characters, of situations, and it doesn't mean that I feel that anybody is bad. It's just my energy doesn't fit into that. Now, this has taken me years and years to actually hone in, you know, and to get right. And I still have slip-ups, you know, but it's usually my gut. I go to my gut first, then I go to my heart, then I go to my head. I think it's the Aborigines who actually say that we have three brains, you know, and our gut is our strongest one, which then gives in head. So our head is really the last place, you know, it's not the most important. So like I say, I was sitting with this person and they said something to me. And I said, no, that's not right. And they said, no, it is. And I said, no, it's not. And they said, come on, please just say yes to me. And I said, no, I'm not going to say yes to you when I don't mean yes. And this caused quite a lot of friction. There was a real tension, which actually ended up in kind of an argument. It would have been an argument had I wanted to argue. I just said, look, I don't even know what's going on here. But there was a lot of tension. And this was because I feel this other person was in some way triggered because I wouldn't say yes to them when there was no reason to say yes. I was also triggered because I felt I was being forced to say something that didn't feel right with me and wasn't coming from a place of my truth, which, you know, I'm not perfect by any means. You know, I get that. I you know, we all have a lot to learn, and I realize, you know, I haven't even scratched the surface, but I do try to live in my integrity. I do try to live in my truth. That is one of the things that I really, really work on. So this happened. So that was quite interesting because at the beginning of the week, I'd been given a word from Spirit, and the word I'd been given was boundaries. So I was told last week to look at my boundaries, you know, and look at, acknowledge them, you know, see why they're there, and also to take notice of them as well. So, hi, Turquoise. Hi, Eleni. So yeah, so these are just little things that have come up that this morning when I was lying in bed, they were all falling into place. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard of Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate is a psychologist. He's a Hungarian guy, and I absolutely adore this man. This man is, I mean, I feel he's a scientist, but I feel he has a spiritual outlook on things. But this guy simplifies everything about the human condition. He's just, to listen to him speak, he speaks a lot about addictions, he speaks a lot about illness and things like that, you know. And today I sorry, I'm just getting my notes. I watched a video that he had on, and it was all about approval and authenticity. So, like I say, I've had a bit of a strange week. I love Alan Watts. Yeah, I love Alan Watts as well. I could listen to that guy talk forever. I just love his voice. So I was speaking on, I think it was Friday night, with Danielle from Joyful Astrology. You know, most of you know Danielle. She is absolutely amazing. If you don't know Danielle, Joyful Astrology, she literally, she's my go-to. She's a dear friend, and I love her dearly, but she is my go-to. She gives me it, you know, she doesn't cushion it for me, you know, she gives me it exactly how I need to get it as well. Yeah, so we were having just a conversation about certain things. You know, we have chit chat, and then occasionally cards will come out, and then charts and things like that. And what we defined, what came out of the conversation after a couple of hours of deliberating, was if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a fuck no. Okay, so there's no in between. You either feel it, it's a yes, or it's a no. You kind of, if you go into something where you're not feeling it, then it is a recipe for disaster as well. Okay, so that was the first insight that I got. So it was boundaries, it was insight, and it was not to say no when, not to say yes when I really mean no. You know, I mean, it's, you know, there's, right, I'm not going to go into that. There was something I was talking about, somebody, and they were described as an energetic rapist, you know, and I don't like that term, rape. I would never, you know, I would never say anything bad about that, or I would never lighten anything to do that. But we've got to be careful with our energy as well as we are with our bodies. You know, if somebody came over and just wanted to touch you, you would say no. But if somebody steps into our energy, a lot of times we don't like it, but we don't say anything because we don't want to appear rude. So I hope that makes sense there. Right, is something happening? Hi, Tanya. I'm a Reiki healer, and my boss at work is a Christian. Last week, he told me I was going to hell for what I do. I said, well, I look forward to hell if it's full of people like me. Yeah, that's what I always say. I get it quite a lot with these channels and with my work, and you're going to hell. And I'm like, cool, at least it's warm then. My friends will be there, so please don't take that. That is his fear, and that is what the fear that has been like put on him, that has been conditioned by the church. Anything different is scary. So please don't take that on board. Hey, Shamanic, how you doing, darling? Happy Sunday. So have I gone? Am I still here? It's been my biggest work over the last 6 months. It's hard and takes such inner strength, but it brings such freedom. Exactly. This is it. We need our boundaries. So, like I say, first of all, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. This is it. Saying yes when you really mean no. Where are you wanting acceptance and approval rather than honoring your authenticity and your feelings? Because it's almost like your feelings validate your authenticity. Nobody else can do this. Your feelings, you do. Did I go missing? Sorry. If I did, I didn't mean to. So when I was listening to this this message, this video of Gabor Mate, he was talking about authenticity and approval. Okay, and I agree with a lot of everything that he says. The man's like a god, but yeah, I mean, I believe that when we are young, we find ways, or we witness what makes us lovable, what makes us accepted, and we then carry them on throughout life. I have a very dear friend of mine who is the funniest guy you will ever meet. He's funny, he can sing, he can dance, he can do all of that. And once we had a conversation, and I said, were you always like this? And his father was very abusive and aggressive and violent. And what he realized at a very, very young age is if his father was laughing, then he wasn't hitting. So he developed this thing within him where he could make people laugh. He could entertain them, because when his father was being entertained, he was no longer being violent. A lot of times we develop that if we help somebody, if we're kind, which we can always be kind, but if it's done from the goodness of our heart, not to gain approval, because then it kind of, the message and the kindness changes. So, if some people, if they're tidy, they got approval. Oh, you have a lovely tidy room. This was never me, by the way. I never got approval for that. But so these people become clean freaks, and they become OCD with their houses because they gain that approval. I remember my mother once saying to me that the outside of your house is so much more important, because more people pass by there than what they do come in. And when I think about it now, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't care what the outside of my house is. When people come to my home, they always say they feel comfortable. They say it's like being at a retreat, and they say that they feel it's like a home from home. And that is what bothers me, not how white my nets are outside, which my mum used to bleach her nets every single week. And this is all just conditioning for approval. Mine was, I was never angry. I didn't develop anger at all. I didn't like it. If I developed anger, then there was always a reaction. So I learned to keep the peace. And in keeping the peace, I kept my mouth shut. And in keeping my mouth shut, what I did was I let a lot of my wants and needs and frustrations go unnoticed. I didn't validate them myself, and they became unimportant. And as I say, I was talking to Danielle, and she has been saying to me for the last couple of years, I'm Aries moon. And she said that, she needs to get me to a place where I can tell somebody to fuck off without feeling guilty for 6 months, and now it's a standing joke. But I understand that this is a skill within me that I haven't been able to develop. The reason I didn't develop it was because approval was taken away from me when that happened. So every single one of you that's here will have your own little bit of needing for approval. And that does not mean that you're wrong. It's not meaning that you're doing anything wrong. But when we recognize that, we realize that, it takes us, when we're seeking this approval or acknowledgement, it takes us so far away from our authenticity, My mummy say all keepers and curtains for people that cared more about the outside. I like that one. I speak my mind. It took a long time. Yeah, and this is what we need to do. Now, we need to be aware of what we're speaking as well, because what we could say could hurt somebody. So we need to be aware of how we say it. If we attack, which is, like I say, what happened the other day. There was something that was very, very bizarre. But it was interesting because now I've right, okay, that's it. And for the first time, I didn't apologize. I apologize all the time to people. But that is, again, disapproval. Oh, God, have I done something wrong? Please still love me. Please still like me. Please still say that I am okay as a person. And when I look at that, I don't like that I have that need for approval. A friend said to me the other day, if something happens, Tanya, whether it's your fault or not, you go straight into judgment of yourself. It's not that I put the judgment out to other people, it's I put it onto myself. And this has been noticed by a friend who told me about it. So I'm like, right, okay, I'm aware of that now, so I'm aware of it. It's not going to happen overnight. But within this situation I spoke about, I said, I'm not apologetic there. I am not going to apologize for saying no when I meant no. And this is what we need to do. This is all of us. We need to embrace our authenticity. We are put on this earth to be. And this is what our goal is, to get past all of this condition and all of these fears and everything and step into ourselves and step up as ourselves as well, because there will be people that don't like it. People, oh, look at that. I remember, a family member actually asked me who I thought I was when I started doing these videos. And I was like, I don't think I'm anybody, I'm doing work that is helping people. This is my purpose. And, it's not that I like being on camera. I hate it. But this is a way that the messages can get out. And this is the way that Spirit told me that told me to work. Right, 10 minutes of silence. Pardon me, but your connection keeps lagging. Can you please buy better quality in Wi-Fi? Right, okay, 10 minutes of silence, right? Whoever you are, I actually live on an island, okay, where I buy the best Wi-Fi that is actually possible here. Okay, so if my connection keeps lagging, I'm so sorry about that. There is nothing I can do about it. Okay, so as I'm just talking, it's not the Wi-Fi, it's YouTube. Okay, thank you for that, Shamanic. But at the end of the day, if you don't like it, if it keeps lagging, and maybe it's just your side that's lagging, and what I would say to that is, maybe you're not meant to be here. Okay. Okay, I understand now why I had to watch this tonight. My mother is abusive and aggressive also, and now she has dementia setting in, and she refuses to even acknowledge my boundaries or human rights. Right, Chrissy, I mean, when somebody has dementia or something like that, they have a mental illness as well. I'm not saying that is the thing with abuse or whatever, because that is never okay. But, now it's kind of, things are different now, because, when people have mental illness, then, often they don't know what they're doing. Sorry. I understand as I have a little bit of a broken brain at times, and things happen, my memory and things like that I'm not aware of. So, it's giving compassion to the situation, but stepping back if you're feeling abused or aggressive as well. Time out for 10 minutes. Yeah, give 10 minutes of silence, 10 minutes of silence. Yeah, you know what? It's just I just can't. So what was I saying? I did that things like that just catch me all off throw, but I'm not I'm not just gonna let them do it. Now there's flirting. Oh, flirting I can do. Yeah. Go, bring on the flirting. It's a Sunday morning, What do you expect? So yes. What was I saying? Right. Okay. So about being authentic. So when we are authentic, we need to listen to our gut. Okay. So our gut is there. It is there for a reason. We have a gut feeling, and it's like boom, like that. And then we have a choice with our brain to say, I'm going to go with that good feeling, or I'm not. Okay. And I can guarantee that every single one of you here, when you haven't gone with that good feeling, have turned around and said, you know what, I knew that. Why did I do that? It didn't feel right, but I went ahead anyway. The reason you went ahead anyway is that you didn't trust yourself, or you were looking for approval in some form or another. Does that make sense? We've got the crazies in. Yay! We've got the crazies in. Is your finger on the trigger, Magic? They're all out. You know what? I mean, you see this happening. This is what I get in emails and everything all of the time. It's this why I only answer my emails twice a week now, for that reason. It happened to me the other day with a date I went on. Oh, interesting. Do you want to share that, Shamanic? I realized this week that I went so much into fear, wanting approval from somewhere. Whoa, it's like, what? I will never trade my authenticity for approval, and this is what I feel none of us should do. None of us should do. So, yes, so this is about listening to our gut, okay? And really getting in tune with it and it's okay to say no if your gut says no. If you say yes and your gut says no, what you're doing is you're stepping over your boundaries anyway. Can anybody hear that? Or is it just me? I think it's just me, right? Okay, my left hand, yeah. I'm almost getting like it's almost like organ noises, like a church organ when it goes like right in my ear like a foghorn. Sorry about that. It's mad when I have to say, did you hear that as well, or was that just me? There's so much goes on in this crazy brain, so much. Yeah, so we need to get in with our gut feelings, and we need. So if somebody is invading your space energetically, they could be standing, they could be at the other side of a computer. But if you feel your space is invaded, you have the right to say no. You don't come here. No trespassers. It's that's it. No, and you don't have to apologize for that. This, like I say, this isn't saying that people are bad, but it's saying that energetically they don't mix with you. They might mix with your friends or something like that. That's great. Let your friends be there, but you don't have to be there. So don't show up to something you don't want us to show up to, and don't allow somebody in. If somebody knocks on your door, you don't just open the door all the time, say, oh yeah, come on in. You go out, you vet them, you say, right, okay, who is this person? You are on your guard. And this is what we need to do all of the time, okay? Because our gut is our God, and our gut is what will keep us safe, okay? And if we don't take notice of our gut, because we're wanting validation from somebody else, or we're wanting approval, or we're wanting acknowledgement, then it's us that will end up getting hurt. And this is all part of this process that we're on. We're on this for growth. When we get to the fully growth stage, this is when we can enjoy it, and this is what we're having to do. So this, I feel, is I've found this to be a very, very big realization today, and this is why I wanted to share it with you. So, right, I'm going to answer some of that. I was recently gifted a boyfriend for a short while. Something about him made him the first one I was more aware of seeking approval from, so I could check myself and learn so much about my insecurity. Exactly. People come into our lives to show us. I've had a few triggers this last couple of weeks, where they're saying, right, okay, are you living in your truth? Have you really learned this lesson? Have you really learned it, or do you just think you have? Because we're going to show up and we're going to test you. And that is great, that Lotus 22. And the fact that you learned about it as well is, why do you want this approval? It's like, I always say when my daughter goes for an interview, remember, it's you interviewing them. Do you want to work for them? But whenever we go on a date or something, it's like, oh, what do they think of me? And I'm guilty of this myself. What do they think? Do they think I'm mad? Somebody called me crazy the other day, and I really got in a crazy. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm mad? And it's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm not normal, but I don't want to be. So why did that straight away? But it was from old stuff. Old stuff still keep coming. The old story that I was still replaying. So we need to let go of our stories as well. So Shamanic, you had a bad vibe about a guy, but we meet people. Often we get excited, so we're not tuning in to our gut. There's different stuff going on, so we're like, oh, all right, we've got all this stimulus, and especially if we find them physically attractive or whatever, we have all this stimulus. So we're not actually going into our feels. We're not taking that step to go, right, hold on, this is the situation. I'm just going to step out a second, notice what I feel. What do I feel? This will tell me whether I step back into it or not. Okay, so it's like I say, always go with your gut. Always go with your gut, and stay safe, Shamanic, as well. Why is this? What's hentai heaven? What is hentai heaven? I don't know what this is. Because she's awesome. Healing's never done, no, and we cannot expect, healings. I went for a healing day, and then the healer the other day, and the healer didn't turn up, and I was like, all right, okay, this is interesting. But we are always our own healer. We cannot look to a healer. I class myself as a healer as well. But a healer is somebody who opens the door and shows people the way. We are always our own healer. It is up to us to give ourselves that freedom and liberation. We can be helped along and guided along, but, it's always up to us to heal. So like I say, yeah, I went retrograde as well, Chiron, yeah. So the wounded healer, yeah. This is it, because, I mentioned this in my video, and I don't like to repeat myself, although I do quite a lot. The other day, that I believe that a lot of our biggest realizations come from our darkest pain as well, and we need to go in and look at this pain that we developed as children, that has formed us into who we are now, because we are, we're not that little child anymore. We don't need that approval from them people that we thought we did, and a lot of times we actually put up with abuse because we see it as approval, and that is not cool. I'm getting quite emotional now, because I am the last couple of weeks I am actually realizing that how many abusive situations I have been in that I never even recognized as abuse, and they weren't done personally to abuse, but they were abusive. And this has been a thing throughout life, and not just me, with a lot of people. But we need to realize that we have put up with this abuse because when we get approval, we get it from ourselves, we get it from our connection with spirit, and when we're not seeking it, this is when we are at our best. This is when we are authentic. So like I say, I'm sorry if this is getting a bit heavy this morning. I wasn't expecting it, But, you know, I really, really feel that this is very important, especially with this lunar eclipse energy still being there. You know, it's for us really to look deep, you know, because a lot of times the problems we feel that we have and that we try and mend, you know, are not the real problems. You know, it's this need for approval that is stopping us from being authentic. And there was a quote, this Gabor made video today, there was a quote he put on it at the end, and I just think it's so beautiful. So I want to share that, and then I'll see if anybody has any questions, and then if they don't, I'll go into the cards for the week. So he said, the fundamental thing that happened and the greatest calamity is not that there was no love or support. The greater calamity, which was caused by that first calamity, is that you lost the connection to your essence. That is much more important than whether your mother or father loved you or not. And this is what we need to see, you know, our mothers, our fathers, our first boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, our friends, our siblings, whatever, they were all going through their own shit, and, you know, they were projecting it on us as we were projecting it on them. But that was the old story. We know better now, you know, and what we know now is that we, you know, when we are authentic, that is the best that we can be, okay? And looking for approval from others takes us so far away from our authenticity. So it is okay to say no. If it's not a fuck yes, then it's a no. You know, you really, really just, you know, give yourself this self-care. Now, when in this talk, I'll try and put a link onto it after I finish this. In this talk that Gabor's doing, he talks about how this actually causes illness within us when we were, can somebody delete that person, please? Sorry. You know what, really, hide user on this channel. There you go. Okay, they're done. Yes, I've just got out of an abusive relationship and I'm now divorced. Well done, Sally, you know. And this is it. It's okay, you know, to get out of a relationship if you're not happy, you know. But what happens, I mean, a lot of times, you know, we have a new job and really she just said to me, I'm not feeling it. And I said, well, give it time. And then I thought to myself, no, if she's not feeling it, then she's not feeling it, you know. So it's okay if you want to leave, leave. You know, just find another one. So what we are doing, if we are not being authentic in ourselves and living authentically, if we are in a job that we hate, but we're doing it because, you know, it's classed as a good job or whatever, but secretly we're not there, we are teaching our children that they trade their authenticity for approval, okay? If we are in a relationship where we are not happy and where we are not free to be ourselves, you know, but we stay, a lot of people say they stay for the children. What we are then doing is teaching our children, we're carrying on these old cycles, we're teaching our children that it doesn't matter whether you're not happy, but you say yes to something you really want to say no to, you know, so what you need is you need to be approved of rather than be authentic, you know, and this happens in so many ways within our life, and we've got to remember that we need to be the visionaries for these future generations. We need to be the ones that are living in our truth so that they can live in their truth as well, you know. And this is it, there's a lot of responsibility on us to be authentic, you know, and the only way we can do that is to be authentic, you know. And it's like I say, it's quite simple really, but we complicate it, you know. And it's like I say, please, 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 we do not say yes to something that we need to say no to, or we know that we should be saying no to, you know, because this is where we will, you know, we will get into problems. And as Gabor Maid says in this, what happens is if you get people a lot, he talks a lot, I mean, he's a scientist, he's a doctor, you know, so people with fibromyalgia, people with ME, sorry, there, people with ME, you know, it's like, what are they doing? Where are they giving up themselves you know, because we need to make things about me. Punk Star Bear was hidden. Were they? They're usually great magic. Can we just check? Sorry. Yeah, so Sunday morning, people are talking about sucking penis. You know, this is a spiritual sense. I love it. You know what I would really love to do? You know, these people that come in and do these, I would really love to read for them and get to the bottom of why they feel they need to do that. Because if we're looking, this isn't something that person would actually say on the street to somebody, but authentic. So it's like, yay. Right, I don't know if we can get her back. I don't know if we can get Punk Star Bear back. Yeah. Like I say, just be careful, because there's some of them that are really, you know, I feel bad with that. And I do appreciate you doing the job, and it is hard when they come up. So Gabor Mate talks about this being, you know, where we develop illness from as well, you know, because we are selling ourselves short and we're wanting this approval. And he says that this will manifest in illness. Our body will eventually say, no, I'm not doing this. You know, I'm not doing this. You know, you are not honoring me. You're not honoring yourself. So I'm going to shut down. We're not in this together, you know, and this is what we need to be aware of as well, you know. And what he was saying was he's got studies and everything. Punk Star, yeah, sorry, it was a mistake. I got them straight onto it straight away. Too much sexual energy for a Sunday morning. Is there ever too much? I don't know. But the lunar eclipse has brought a lot of that out as well. Oh God, where's this going? Yeah, so a lot of times when we develop illness, it's because we are putting other people's needs before us as well. You know, I'm a great believer in Louise Hay. You know, I always look at her work and her ideas of illness. And then, like I say, this Gabor Mate has actually said that it's been proven. You know, he was talking about somebody who'd had breast cancer and how their first thought was, how are they going to care for their husband, you know, when they're like this? Now, breast cancer usually has something to do with nurturing, you know, often connected to the mother. So sometimes this can be, you know, that they didn't get that comfort, so they need to then comfort other people to then feel validated for who they are. So it gets into a big, crazy head mess of a lot of things like that. But I hope this is kind of made a little bit sense to people, you know, because I really, really feel that it was very, very important to highlight this today, you know. And like I say, if I get a realization, I like to share it. So you blocked, you might take, because you blocked Turquoise as well. I don't know who that AMV is. It's everybody just getting blocked. Yeah, that's in boundaries. No. That's funny. Trigger happy. Yeah, you said you were trigger happy. I just been whoa. Close on that trigger. So yeah, so has anybody got anything to say about that? Did that make sense to people? Has it highlighted things? Whatever. I don't want to turn the chats off neither, you know. I really don't want to do that, because I do enjoy seeing. Yeah, so it made sense, Lisa. Yeah. So I really feel that, you know, if we look at all ways ourselves, you know, where we're trading our authenticity for approval, you know, and it's going to cost us too much. It's not a good trade, and it's not a good deal. So it's fine for you to say no when you mean no. You know, you don't have to say yes. Yeah. So right, I'm just going to have a quick draw, and then I will start the cards. I always get wrong for doing this, but yeah. Yeah, I can relate. I've started putting myself first more these days. This is what we've got to do, because if we don't put ourselves first, you know, and I'm not saying this in a selfish way, but it is about us, because if we are not being authentic, if we are not firing on all cylinders, we are not being the best we can be, then our relationships around us won't be. And we're not being as good as we can be to the people that we love and care about as well. What won't be heard in the whisper will be heard in the shout. My body had to shout. Won't let it happen again. Exactly. This is when we develop illness, you know. There's a crazy thing happened on this island this week, and it's you know, somebody has been cut down. And that is because they haven't been taking the notice, you know. Why are there so many trolls here? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But yes, so we've got to think it's about us. A lot of times we're very, especially the English, I've realized this, that, you know, we are very polite. You know, it's bizarre. I remember once when I was young being on holiday and this guy asking me to dance, and I was only about 11, 12, and this guy was inappropriate. I didn't like this guy. And I said no. He asked me to dance and I said no. And my mom came over to me and she said, "That is so rude. You never say no when a guy asks you to dance. You get up and you dance with him. Do you realize how bad he must have felt, blah, blah, blah." And I remember feeling terrible. And this guy, as a bride, she was doing what she thought was right and being polite. But wow, it's like when I think of that now, it's like, no, you know, that was in no way cool. You know, there was a lot of inappropriations within that. But then I grew up thinking, all right, yes, I see. You know, it's like if somebody chooses me, I've got some of the relationships I've had, they chose me, and it's like, but I haven't chose them. You know, there has been ones that I've chose. So, like I say, that, you know, I'm not talking about all of my relationships, but when I was younger, that was something that would happen. So, you know, like I say, I hope that makes sense to people. So, right. Does anybody have any questions or anything before I start the cards? Thank you, admins. Yeah, thank you, Magic and my turquoise. I love how Magic deleted turquoise. The two moderators. So nobody have any questions? So really IGs on this channel. Wow. Right, okay, so I've already pulled the cards. I don't know what I'm feeling. Should I keep the cards that I've already pulled, or should I pull some more for the weekly energies? So this is at 48 minutes, the weekly energy reading is going to come out. So what do you reckon? What do you reckon? Should I pull new cards or the ones that I already have? The weekly energies. I think I'm going to repull. I think I'm going to redraw them. It feels right to do that. Yeah, it feels right to do that. So this is the reading for this is the reading for the week beginning the 22nd of July. Where has this year gone? Where has it gone? It's like, it's absolutely insane how quick it's gone. Okay. So this is for the weekly energies. Whoa. I feel it's going to be a bit of a crazy week again. So just hold on to your hats. I think that's what I said last week, and it's still happening. We have a great, if anybody is watching who is in Ibiza, there is a fabulous woman and healer and shaman coming over from Ireland for this week, who I will be doing the workshops with her as well, and it's at Et Manel in Ibiza. So if you are in Ibiza, for you. Right, okay. Okay, so energies for this week. Right, I knew I needed to reshuffle them. Am I still there? Am I still there? People, can you let me know? Am I still here? Right. Energies for the 22nd. Energies for the 22nd, please. So interesting, these cards. So bloody interesting. So interesting. Right, okay, is there still people there? Nobody's commenting at the moment, so I don't know if I've gone off or not. Right. Right. These are interesting. Okay. So this is the energies for the 22nd going through to the 29th. Okay. And the first card that I've pulled here is Justice. So Justice talks about it's an adjustment this card is talking about. And this is where we have to adjust ourselves to actually get into our truth. Now, when we're looking at justice, justice isn't swayed by emotions, isn't swayed by anything else. You know, if you think in a court of law, if somebody goes up and goes, I'm sorry, please let me off. Justice doesn't care about that. You know, it's the cold, hard facts. And this is where we need to be as well. Okay. We need to shut off what we see as well, because a lot of times when we see, you know, we can look at people and we can kind of, oh, right, well, I tell you what, I'll not say that because I don't want to upset them or something like that, you know. So we rely a lot on our vision rather than our feels, okay? And this is what this card is saying to us now. It's about getting into our feels. This is where our balance will be. When we get, does it feel a bit off for me? Yes, it does. So I'll not do it. You know, this is a lot of times I actually like to read for people over the phone because I can't see them. So visually, and anybody who's had a reading with me will know that a lot of times I'm not looking at you when I'm reading. My head is down and I'm looking at the cards because I don't want to be swayed by that little flicker that you might have, or I might say something that, you know, your face might go sad or, you know, happy. I might see something in that can affect what I'm going to say. So I don't like to do that. And this is exactly what this card is saying. So this is about being authentic. It's about being truthful to yourself as well. It's about not being over analytical about yourself or your feelings neither. You feel it, that's it. Okay, you don't have to analyze it. If it's there, validate it. It's warranted. It's coming up for a reason to show you something. And then that's it. You know, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain your feelings here. And what this is saying is that the answers that you will get or the answers that you are seeking are within you. You're not going to get them from the outside world. This isn't validation. You're not going to get validation from the outside world. You get that from yourself. You know, you are not going to get approval from the outside world. You will get that from yourself. So this is it. You turn inward, you know, you be in your truth, you live authentically, and then you don't need anything else. What anybody else thinks of you is none of your business. James Van Praagh told me that 6 years ago, actually, and I forget, but it's been highlighted this week as well. So this is the first thing this week. This is the anchor, okay? Be true to yourself. Rather than trying to be, you know, approved of by others, which is exactly what we've just been saying. So this 5 of coins is coming up as well. So this is a feeling of lack, a feeling of a needing sanctuary, a feeling of needing that place to go. Now, if we have a look at this, I feel that this is talking about our inner child. This time when we were shut out, this time when we felt we weren't validated, this time when we felt that we weren't approved of as well, okay? So we always wanted to go into this warm place, this place where we felt cared for, this place where we felt comforted, this place where we felt we were part of something, okay? Now, what we need to realize here is we are lacking in nothing. We are part of a bigger picture, okay? We are part. Spirit will never, ever desert us. Okay, the only person who can desert us is ourselves. And that is the saddest thing, that we being there for ourselves when we are not standing up, when we're not comforting ourselves, you know, and we're feeling that, you know, we need that from somebody else. And then if they take it away, we have this feeling of lack. Okay, if we don't need this, you know, we don't get attached. You know, we don't get attached to the approval of others, because if we do, then this brings in expectation. Expectation then is the root of all disappointments, the root cause of all disappointments, okay? So please know that that sanctuary you're looking for, that place where you feel you belong, that place where you feel you will be comforted and nurtured, is not external. It is internal. And if you have to go in and speak to your inner child, you know, then this is what you will have to do, you know, because you are not going to find it elsewhere. You're not going to find it elsewhere, you know. So this, I feel, is going to be the theme of this week, you know, looking at areas where you feel that you're lacking, but the lack isn't coming because you're not getting approval from other people. The lack is coming because you're not being authentic, okay? So it's going to be a big, big test this week as well. And I'm going to pull one of the Colette Baron-Reid cards, and then has the chat gone off or something, or is just everybody not speaking to me now? Because I don't know, it doesn't seem to be on. Right, okay, so this is it. They say a leopard, they're saying to me that they say a leopard doesn't change its spots, but it can. Okay, so this is it. It's up to you to change your spots this week, okay? Or spot where changes are being or needed to be made. That's funny. I like that. I love it when they come in with something like that. Yeah, look, there we go. Between two worlds. When we are seeking approval from others, okay, our world becomes grey. When we know who we are and we are authentic and we are living in our truth, look at the color that comes into our world here. This card as well, I always like it when I see this card, because if we have a look at the flamingo there, I mean, a flamingo, it's, you know, a lot of flamingos is called flamboyance. And this is what I feel flamingos are. They're there, they're elegant, they're like, look at me, yeah, of course I'm fucking weird. Do you know what I mean? I'm pink, I'm off, I look like something from prehistoric times, you know, but I'm going to stand there and I'm going to stand in my weirdness and I'm going to be proud. But where the reason they get their color is from the shrimp that they eat, you know, the prawns that they eat. And when a flamingo is not getting right, and this is when it actually is in the process of dying, okay? So this is when we're not getting the right nutrients, which are love, which are care, which are nurture, you know, when we're not getting them, then this is when we can actually become ill, okay? So like I say, we give them to ourselves first. And what happens then is when we are saying to somebody, this is how I am going to be treated, okay? This is how I am treating myself. You're saying to them, this is all I am going to accept. So if you're not treating me as good as I treat myself, then I'm sorry, you know, you're not there, you're not in my life. You know, if somebody then sees how you're treating yourself, you set the guidelines for them, you set the mark of how you're going to be treated. You know, and a lot of times when we treat ourselves bad and we talk negatively about ourselves, you know, which I am so guilty of, I'm getting so much myself coming through from this as well, you know. So like I say, it's not a lecture, I feel it's more a lecture for me as well. But when I am not treating myself well, then that gives other people permission to not treat me well as well. So this is why we need to have massive self-care. Massive self-care, massive self-respect, and huge self-boundaries as well. It's like, no, if you're playing that game, then you're not coming in, and that door is shut. So I hope that makes sense. This is where we're transitioning to, because if you are feeling down, if you are feeling depressed, repressed, or whatever, look at where you are trading your authenticity for approval. Look at where you're doing that in your life, because that is when your life will become great, and we all deserve to live this life full of color and full of recognizing who we are and standing up and showing up as well. Showing up is not showing off, but people will try and say that to pull us down. Okay, so it's showing up. We need to show up for ourselves, and then others will see how that happens. So this is all this week. So it's going to be a bit of a week. I feel there's still a lot of changes to come. We're still under this lunar eclipse energies, and a lot of endings, but we need to realize that every ending is a new beginning, but there's still some shit to sort out, still some shit to shovel. I see in there. Right, okay, so I'm going to end with Colette Baron-Reid card. So yeah, that's interesting that them cards actually were pretty much in this people not there. Okay. I don't know why I'm chat. I'm just going to have a look while I'm not now. I don't know if I can do that. I think if I try and refresh, I might go off, and I'm nearly finished. So come on, Colette Baron-Reid message for the week, the weekly collective for all of us. There you go, once for now. When I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. So look at that, it's owls again. I love owls. And I actually have faith above me there as well, faith above my head. So yeah, when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. So we need approval from the universe, okay? The universe has faith in us. This is why it's got us here. The universe, or God, or whatever you want to call it, made us perfect, okay? So they don't need to approve of us. They know that we are already perfect in our own right, and they love us unconditionally, okay? Even when we are going off our path by seeking approval from others, the universe will always be there to say, you know what, I'm here. This is, you will feel loved, you will feel cared for, you will feel respected, and you will feel valued and appreciated for exactly who you are. And that is when we become real, okay? And what comes in with real is peace. When we are being ourselves, we are at peace, okay? When we are seeking approval, this is when we are stepping into war, when we're stepping into battle, because our happiness and our realness and our peace depends on somebody else's opinion of us, and that could change at any time. So we are giving control of our happiness and our life to other people, and that is not cool. Like I say, the universe has put us down here, to live this human existence, to grow, to expand, to be in joy, to be playful, to actually allow ourselves to be this colorful being. Why would they make a world full of grayness, when there's so much color that we can have? So I hope that makes some sense. These are energies for this week. Please let me know if they start to crop up, which normally they do. And I'm sorry if the chat went off. If people are messaging me, the chat's actually off there, so I can't see though. So thank you for holding in, and I hope that message makes sense. I hope this whole day has this, all what I've been speaking about today does, you know, because I really feel it's something very valuable that we should all look at and all acknowledge as well, you know, as well as acknowledging ourselves. Okay, so I would normally ask you what you were all doing for the rest of the Sunday, but like I say, there's no way of me communicating to you, which maybe that's, everything happens for a reason. Maybe there was more trolls coming in. But yeah, this is it, you know, in order for us to go the distance, we need to go inside first, you know, and that is where our power pack is, inside. Okay, it's like they're showing me there, I don't know why, you know, like when you're running and stuff like that, and you have these power packs, these like protein packs and things like that to build up strength and stamina. It's almost like saying it's in there, you know, you don't have to go out looking for it, you've actually already got it in there, it's already inbuilt. Okay, so have an absolutely fabulous Sunday. If anybody does want a personal reading with me, please click the link below. I will put it up in about 5 minutes when I get to the other computer. So click that link, and it's very, very easy to get a reading with me. It shows you my availability, and you just click on that and it will set it to your time zone and everything. So have an absolutely fabulous Sunday. I'm sending you lots and lots of love. Remember to keep them boundaries up as well. Okay. Sat Nam.